Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome. We're going to start in a couple minutes here and get ready for everyone to join, and then we're going to go ahead and start. If you are here a little bit early, don't be shy. Feel free to say hello in the chat, say where you're calling in from, maybe share one fun fact about today. Hello again, everyone. Welcome. Everyone, I see everyone's coming in. Again, we're just going to wait a couple more seconds for everyone to join. Couple housekeeping things. If you have any questions throughout, please feel free to put them in the chat. If you're having any issues with audio or sound, please put that in the chat as well, and we'll have some of our team members able to help you. All righty. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our webinar today. Thank you so much for joining. We're just going to wait a couple more seconds. I still see a lot of people joining in. Like I said before, if you weren't able to hear it, please feel free to put any questions you have in the chat. If you have any problems with audio or sound, go ahead and put that in the chat as well, but we're going to be starting here in the next 45 seconds. All right, that's it. We're going to jump right in. Welcome, everyone. Today, our head of R&D at Datadome is going to be exploring Captcha Farms and give you an answer to the question, are they outsmarting your website? As we jump in with a big figure, most CAPTCHAs are not solved for human beings. On our end, what we're seeing is up to 90% of CAPTCHAs are solved on behalf of bots. That's a really big number, and we're going to do a lot of great information today to unpack that figure for you and show why it is so high. Little introduction about us. So my name is Jordan. I am from Minneapolis, Minnesota. You can probably hear my accent a little bit, but I've been at Datadome for 2 years now, and what I love most about working in cybersecurity is the constant need for improvement and the big sense of community that brings us to this industry.
And I'm Antoine Vestel, and I'm the technical lead of Datadome's threat research team. Before I joined Datadome, I did a PhD at INRIA, a French research center, about browser fingerprinting and bot detection.
Excellent. Thanks, Antoine. So glad to have you. Before we take a deep dive into Captcha Farms, let's take a trip down memory lane. If you can remember back to 1997, 23 years ago, that's when the Captcha was born, and it had this mighty mission of stopping bots. If you remember the challenge, and we have it here on the screen, it was this obscured text that made it nearly impossible for bots to solve, and also admittedly sometimes I struggled with this challenge as well. But sadly, this version of the bot CAPTCHA no longer works today in 2020, and that's simply because bots would just destroy it. So, what does a bot look like in 2020? Bot developers in 2020, they have so many options when it comes to building perfect bots. And how do they do it? Well, like with everything today, there's just a solution for it. And there's going to be 3 I'm going to be sharing. So the first one is that it uses a perfect browser. This is an example from browserlist.com. You could go on it just after this meeting and check it out for yourself. But with this, for a price, you can access a real web browser running in the cloud. It's got perfect headers, and it mimics a real browser. The second one is that it originates from a clean residential IP. This is an example from Luminati.io. It gives people access to hundreds of thousands of clean IPs, and it's just like an IP that's on your phone, the one that might be right next to you. They have access to those clean credentials, and it gives people the opportunity to distribute massive attacks where they can create maybe 1, 2, maybe 3 requests and then rotate to another clean IP, which is never going to be flagged by any sort of WAF or CDN. And if that wasn't enough, lastly, they can run on real devices. This is an example of a farm where people can rent real devices. And if you were able to combine these strategies of the perfect browser, the perfect IP, and perfect devices, the scary thing is bots could be completely invisible to your teams because they have so many different things that they could be using. So in summary, bots look just like humans, and they have the ability to click and scroll and add things to baskets that they might not actually buy. That's something that I do a lot. But the important thing to know is that bots have a lot of tools and extreme motivations to get to your content. So it's important to remember that while bots have methods to go undetected by the CAPTCHA, they also have methods to get around them, which brings us to the real meat of our discussion today, and that is how Captcha Farms are outsmarting your website or mobile devices or mobile apps. And Antoine's going to be sharing 2 big reasons why that is.
So first, Captcha are hard on humans and really easy on bots. Who has never struggled to pass one of these very annoying challenges and failed because the bot looked like a duck? So humans struggle to pass the CAPTCHA, and at the same time, you can imagine that since CAPTCHAs have been invented, bot developers have been already working on solutions to automatically solve them. So now we will show a short video of a Sneakerbot. So if it's a bot that aims to buy limited edition sneakers to sell them after. And on the left of the screen, you will see that the human operating the bot will solve CAPTCHA on the behalf of the bot. So whenever one of its bots are blocked, it solves the CAPTCHA. So it's a 1, 2. So for these bots, it's not a problem at all to show CAPTCHA. They can just pass them. And here you see that the bot operator is doing it. But what you can do if you don't want to do it yourself, because you have too many CAPTCHA to solve, you can just use a Captcha farm and make an API call to a Captcha farm.
Great, Antoine. Thanks for showing us that clip on Sneakerbots. Could you explain a little bit more about what a Captcha farm really is and what it can look like?
Captcha farms are to bots what sweatshops are to the clothing industry. So just to summarize what's a Captcha farm, it's a marketplace that connects bot developers with a pool of skilled workers trained to quickly pass CAPTCHAs. Captcha farms provide an API for developer to pass CAPTCHA with bots. It means that solving a CAPTCHA with your bot is as simple as making an API call from your code. And the good things, at least for bot developers, is that it works on different kinds of CAPTCHA, from the most popular like reCAPTCHA to real simple CAPTCHAs like text-based CAPTCHA or image-based recognition CAPTCHA. So a few examples of the most popular Captcha farm, we have TrueCAPTCHA, Anti-CAPTCHA, and Best Captcha-solver. What they all have in common is that they help developers forge CAPTCHAs using a simple API call. And at the same time, they help workers from developing countries to earn money by solving thousands of CAPTCHA a day. Just to give you an idea, it costs around $3 to solve 1,000 reCAPTCHA. Given that reCAPTCHA are the most expensive kind of CAPTCHA to solve. So if you want to learn more, you can visit one of these websites, create an account, and solve some CAPTCHA just as if you were one of their workers. So how does it work? So first, we have a bot that will do a request to a website. Then this website will respond back with a CAPTCHA, so that the user prove that it's a human. Since the bot is not human, it will make a request to Captcha or any other Captcha farm using its API key. Then the Captcha farm will ask one of its human worker to pass the Captcha on the behalf of the bot. And when it's available, we'll send back the authorization token corresponding to the Captcha to pass. The bot will submit this authorization token in the Captcha form to pretend it was actually passed by the bot. And then the website will be fooled and will grant access to the bot as if it was a legitimate human user. What it means is that generally, after the Captcha has been passed, the bot will be able to continue to conduct its attack. So crawling the website or continue to conduct account takeover attack. So now I'm going to show you a demo of a bot that I programmed. This bot will use two Captcha API to submit a registration form that's protected by a Captcha. So we see that it's a simple bot using a Puppeteer and Chrome. It will make a request to Captcha using our credentials. Okay, so we are going to launch this bot, and it will open a browser tab on the right. So this browser is fully automated, and the bot will start to type fake information into the registration form. So now it sent a request to Captcha, as you can see in the terminal on the left, and Captcha will give this request to one of its workers. So in general, it takes between 30 to 40 seconds to solve Captcha. It depends on the number of workers available. And when the Captcha will be solved, Captcha will provide us with an authorization token corresponding to the answer to the Captcha. So it will be a long string of a character that will appear on the terminal on the left, and the bot will insert it into the form and then generate a fake click on the submit button to successfully submit the Captcha. So we can see that we generated a fake account, even though it was protected by a Captcha. So we protect a lot of customers against bots. And let me present you some use case showing Captcha Farm activity on some of these customers. So our first use case comes from the transportation industry. So we protect one of our customers from bots working on behalf of their competitor to monitor in real time the price of each and every single journey available. So before this customer activated our Datadome bot management solution, they had three main issues. First, they were losing their competitive edge. Second, the bots were heavily impacting their infrastructure resources. It cost them money and the site was slow. And finally, each request, whether it was coming from a bot or from a human being, cost them money to generate the results for the journey because they were making a call to a third-party API that they have to pay. So if we look on the graph showing the Captcha Farm activity on this website, we see that there is a lot of activity, and the reason is that this information, the information available on this website is so valuable that bots were trying everything to work around Datadome. So in red, the red line represents the Captcha Farm activity, so the number of Captcha submitted by bots using Captcha Farm. And we see that there are more Captcha submitted by bots than Captcha submitted by legitimate human users. Some days, we even see peaks of thousands of Captcha passed by bots. So we saw how far bot developers are willing to go to spy on the competition. And it's even more the case when you have a single platform that aggregates the price information from multiple retailers. So the second case study is from a price comparison website where you can search the price of a product on different other websites. So on this website, we see the blue line. So the blue line corresponds to every time we show the Captcha to a user, and this Captcha is actually displayed in the browser. So when we show a Captcha, the browser will display it, and every time it's the case, it's plotted on the blue line. We see that in red, the Captcha Farm activity, there are more Captcha that are solved by Captcha bots, so bots leveraging Captcha Farm, than there are actually Captcha that have been seen. So for legitimate human users, it's not possible to solve a Captcha without seeing it in its browser. But for Captcha bots, it's totally possible to do it because it's as simple as doing an API call to a Captcha Farm. So it's a clear indication of Captcha Farm activity on this website. Keep in mind that every time a Captcha is forged, someone, so a bot developer, is paying a Captcha Farm worker to do it. If we look more in details at the graph, we see that on February 28th, there were more than 120,000 Captcha that were forged in a single day. And not that the same thing happened few weeks before multiple times. And it means that the bot developers spend multiple thousands of dollars just to forge Captcha. So it means it doesn't even include the cost of operating the bots. It shows how far bot developers are willing to go to obtain valuable data.
Excellent, Antoine. Thank you so much. So what we're going to do now is discuss how Datadome detects Captcha Farms. And we got a really great question in the chat that says, do these issues apply to mobile apps and APIs? The answer is yes. And to give you a bit of context, at Datadome, our job is to protect websites, mobile apps, APIs all around the world. It doesn't matter if you are a luxury brand like Hermes, BlaBlaCar, New York Times, Pokemon, Foot Locker, they're all facing sophisticated bot attacks. And our mission is to block malicious automated traffic and authenticate the good traffic in real time. Now, your other question was about false positives. I'm going to follow up with that question at the end, but that's a really good question to be thinking about at the end. So the reason we do this is to secure our customers' performance, their businesses, and their users' privacy. So what does it actually take to achieve this? At Datadome, we're analyzing 100 billion request events and session attributes. There are a couple examples listed here. And from those 1,000 billion requests, we're seeing a new type of bad bot pattern detected every 10 milliseconds. So as we've been speaking and having this conversation, this is a solution and a problem that continues to evolve. And an important takeaway for our discussion in terms of finding new bot patterns is that we're even able to detect a new bot pattern even when they're forging CAPTCHAs. So the thing that also we should be thinking about is that no bot is perfect. And Antoine's going to talk a little bit about our technical detection and how it works. Of course, there's a lot to discuss, but we're just going to give you a little bit of what we're doing to address this issue with Captcha Farms.
So to detect if a CAPTCHA has been submitted by legitimate human users or by a bot using a CAPTCHA farm, we apply statistical and machine learning approaches on a wide range of signals, in particular on the fingerprint and on the behavior. So regarding the fingerprint, we collect different kind of fingerprints, in particular in the browser, and it enables us to detect advanced bots like Puppeteer, Endless Chrome, and Selenium. So bots that are using headless browsers or real browsers, even when they use special frameworks or code to heavily modify their fingerprint in order to bypass traditional bot detection techniques. We also apply statistical and machine learning approaches on behavior. So for example, the behavior of the user before it passed the CAPTCHA, so how fast the user is browsing the website, the shape of the time series, etc. And we also analyze the behavior on the CAPTCHA page itself to determine whether it's a bot or not. So one of the examples of the feature we use is the time to solve a CAPTCHA. So we conducted some research on Captcha Farm, and we showed that Captcha Farm workers solve CAPTCHAs 25% faster than legitimate human users. So in the blue line, we see that 60% of the CAPTCHA workers solve CAPTCHAs in less than 6 seconds against 40% in orange of the legitimate human users. So keep in mind that it's only one of the signals we use to detect Captcha Farms, and we use hundreds of signals to determine if a CAPTCHA has been submitted by a human or by a bot using a Captcha Farm.
Excellent. So the key question that we're tackling today is, are Captcha Farms outsmarting your website? We've discussed the first Captcha Farm, we've discussed sophisticated bots and the tools they use to get around CAPTCHAs, and we've shown you some case studies and some of our technical strategies for detecting and blocking them. And among the audience today, we have some CISOs, SecOps, SREs, governance and compliance officers of major worldwide businesses. And you're highly likely to be in a situation where you maybe have a CAPTCHA set up, or you're deploying a CAPTCHA because maybe you're experiencing challenges like slowdowns, payment fraud, data breaches, click fraud, scraping from competitors. The list can go on and on. But the important thing to know is that even with these measures, bots are still successfully attacking your websites, your mobile apps, your APIs. And the big suggestion we have to you is if you're really interested by this topic and this question, launch an audit, find out for yourself and get some really key information. What we recommend is finding an audit that can tell you how much your infrastructure is being drained by bots, give you industry level benchmarks of where you sit amongst your competitors, and get those daily reports and really know which parts of your traffic are coming from automated and which ones are coming from your real customers. So that way you can take that data and make some actionable things to improve your business. So if you're noticing things are high in terms of infrastructure drainage, exposure to bad bots, or specific attacks like credential stuffing or intense scraping, that's something that you should go forward and find a solution for. So then you can know how to stop Captcha Farms. And at Datadome, if we've taken 30 minutes to discuss this topic, and if it's piqued your interest, we'd be happy to discuss with you your unique challenges when it comes to bots, because it's very specific for industry, what type of attacks you're facing. And if you wanted to get that definitive data and the answer to that question, we're happy to sit down with you and discuss more about Captcha Farms and how they could be outsmarting your website. But in interest of time, we have a lot of time left for questions. So it would be great to take these 10 minutes to learn a little bit more about what your interests are from Captcha Farms, maybe one new thing you learned today, and then we can go from there and really, dive deep into this question. The one thing that I'll start off with is one of the questions we have is, are some industries more targeted than others by Captcha Farms? I think Antoine did a really good job discussing this with our second case study. If you have valuable content about pricing information, that's really valuable for bots to get a hold of, and they're willing to pay the price to get it and sell it to your competitors, to other people out there. But the important thing to know is that bots are everywhere and they're ubiquitous, and the fact that you have a mobile app, that you have an API and a website, it makes you very vulnerable, and content is gold today. Antoine, do you have anything else that you'd want to add in terms of which industries are mostly targeted by Captcha Farms?
So on my side, with my team, when we review traffic, we see that, as you said, it's targeting every industry, and but some more than others. So whenever you have valuable content, for example, with a transportation website, as for the example I gave, or a website that aggregates data from multiple other websites and platforms, it's really valuable, because if you develop a bot, let's say you want to crawl the price of electronic product, if you can find this price on a single website instead of crawling all the websites, it costs you less in terms of infrastructure, in terms of proxies. So you see a lot of Captcha bot on this kind of website, and also on websites or applications selling limited edition products. So in particular, websites selling sneakers or streetwear products. We see a lot of bots leveraging Captcha Farms to bypass Captcha.
Excellent. And Antoine, what about when it comes to Black Friday? I know that I see a lot of people on here who are from major retailers. What does that kind of bot traffic in Captcha Farm look like when it comes to the holiday season?
Sorry, can you repeat? For Black Friday, how does it differ from the usual activity? Or?
Yeah, from Captcha Farms.
Yeah, so in general, I mean, you may think you are safe from bots, but what we have discovered during, these last months, and in particular after the coronavirus, is that people develop bots for everything. As soon as something becomes valuable, they are willing to develop bots to buy something that's in limited edition and to sell it for more money on the online platform. So, and now it's as simple as using, you can easily find a code to create bots online, and you just need to buy, to put some money on your Captcha account, and then you can forge Captchas. So it can happen everywhere on all platforms, having like aggressive discounts in particular.
Excellent. And then to follow up on that question we had about expected false positive rate of a bot protection solution. So it's going to depend on which competitor or which solution you're talking to. But here at Datadome, this is something that's very near and dear to our heart, is the false positive rate. And ours is extremely low. I think we have the best in the industry, and that is 1 out of 10,000. And the great thing about that, it has a really great feedback loop to learn a little bit more about your algorithm and traffic. So it continues to develop and enhance itself. So we learn from that with our machine learning. Antoine, do you have anything else that would be helpful to share about our false positive rate?
Yeah, so I mean, we have, besides the number, so we have a false positive rate of less than one request per 10,000, one false positive per 10,000 requests. We have a team of data analysts that constantly monitor the false positive rate to ensure no real human users is impacted by the protection. We have also, an infrastructure to automatically monitor it to ensure that no humans are impacted by, no humans are impacted. Yeah.
This is a really good question, though. And if you were serious about learning more about bot mitigation, make sure that you're asking this question to the people you're having conversations with, because at Datadome, we're very proud of our false positive rate, and we'll actually show it and display it to you. So it's very transparent, and we want to make sure that you know that if we're presenting a CAPTCHA, it's going to a bot. That's really important. Ooh, this is a good question that also just came in. Do you think that bad bots usually use mobile IP or residential IPs? On our end, this is a figure that we found that 1 out of 3 bots are actually using residential IPs. So the consequences of this are evident that, these are when DDoS attacks can happen. This is when account takeover can happen. This is when GDPR compliance issues can come into play. So that's a really good question as well. Antoine, do you have anything else that might be helpful to add to that?
Yeah, so it's bots use more and more residential IPs, whether they are mobile or like landline IP addresses, let's say. On some websites, it's the only solution to actually be to have a chance for your bot to obtain the content, because some website operators raise the bar really high and make it impossible to call a website from a data center IP. And so you may think that mobile IP addresses, residential mobile IP addresses are expensive, and it's the case. But let's say to buy a limited edition sneakers, it's definitely worth buying or renting mobile proxies. So in general, it's around $20 per gigabyte or more, depending on the country. But for some kind of bots, it's not a problem. Yeah, also the difficult part when it comes to handling residential IPs used by bot is that you cannot just have a blacklist of IP, because these IPs tend to be dynamic. So one day they are used by a bot, and the day after it's not used by a bot anymore. So if you simply block it, you will impact legitimate human users. And also, when it comes to mobile IP addresses, it's really tricky because these IP addresses are shared by thousands of users. So if you simply block an IP address, a mobile IP address, and you are a popular website, then you will impact potentially dozens of users, and that's not something you want. So that's why at Datadome, when it comes to handling residential proxies, in particular mobile residential proxies, we have special techniques, and our machine learning models help us to handle this difficult part.
Excellent. And one other question we just got in is, are bots using AI to solve CAPTCHAs?
Yeah.
Antoine, do you know the answer to that?
Yeah, so that's something we often read in a newspaper, and so it used to be true. It works easily on CAPTCHAs like text recognition or image-based recognition. But if you're using more advanced CAPTCHA like reCAPTCHA or GTEST, for example, you are more likely to be targeted by Captcha Farm. First, because it's not really more expensive to use a Captcha Farm, and you have more reliable results. But some of our customers, before they were protected by Datadome, they had CAPTCHAs that were simple to use, using for example, a simple vision API from the Google Cloud Platform. And when we looked at their traffic, we saw that they were heavily targeted by bots using AI to solve CAPTCHA, and it was to conduct, in this context, it was used to conduct really large-scale credential stuffing attacks. But yeah, I would say on recent CAPTCHA, it's not really the most efficient solution.
I didn't even know the answer to that question. Thanks, Antoine. So a lot of people are asking if they will get the slides. The good thing to know is that we will be providing a replay and we'll be sending you the slides as well. So if you've got to jump, go ahead and we'll follow up with you with all this key information. But other than that, Antoine, thank you for sharing all this information with us. Everyone, thank you so much for your attention. Have a wonderful day. And if you have any other questions, feel free to follow up with us. We're a friendly group of people. We'd love to help. So have a wonderful rest of your day and we'll talk soon. Bye, everyone.